Darwin's game tells about a young guy named Kaname Sudo who suddenly receives an invitation message from his classmate to play a mysterious game. At first, Kaname ignores the message, but he's getting curious because his classmates play the game he doesn't know about. The scene shows the main character in the anime Sudo Kaname. He is an ordinary high school student, but a complicated situation changes him to become a professional player in Darwin's game. Hamada is running while looking for help. A hunter almost catches him. While running away from the hunter, Hamada thinks of who can help him. Kaname's name comes to his mind. He quickly sends Kaname an invitation, but Kaname doesn't come. As he is cornered, Hamada has no choice but to fight the hunter. However, the hunter activates his sigil, which makes him invisible. Hamada is looking for his presence, and the hunter finishes him off. The game is over, and the winner is the hunter. Every player who dies in the game will leaving a checkered trail of death on the road. The next day, Kaname is in the class looking at his phone. He wants to have a sports motorbike like Kyuta and Hamada. It costs an arm and a leg, and he intends to get part-time jobs so that he can buy one. Shinizuka appears and tells him about a mysterious body outline art outside the station. Moreover, he says that it has been found in the streets and on the walls all over Shibuya. Just then, Kyuta appears and asks them about Hamada's whereabouts. Kaname replies he hasn't seen Hamada since morning. Kyuta asks Kaname to inform him if he sees Hamada. He then gets to leave the class, but he overhears Kaname talking about a message from Hamada. Kyuta turns around and tells Kaname not to open the app. However, Kaname has opened the link to Darwin's game. Therefore, Kaname is registered as an entry-level player of the game. A snake suddenly comes out of his phone, much to his surprise. The snake bites his neck and he faints. Shinizuka and Kyuta take him to the infirmary. Not long after that, Kaname wakes up and asks if he can go home. The nurse then hands him the form before he leaves. He accidentally drops the pen. He then reaches out his arm under the desk and picks up the pen. Unbeknownst to him, he uses his sigil and creates a pen on his own. After filling out the form, he hands in the form and leaves. Meanwhile, the nurse is confused to see two identical pens. Kyuta and Shinizuka are waiting for him outside. Kyuta says he will meet him at his home after school and explains about Darwin's game. Kaname gets on the train to go home. There he sees a man wearing a basketball costume and a mask. It turns out the man is the player Hunter of Darwin's game. Previously, Kaname has agreed to the registration of the game membership. Therefore, the game has been started. The hunter keeps attacking him and manages to hurt him. As the train stops, Kaname hurries to the police station and reports to the officer that there is a murderer. However, the hunter follows him to the police station and kills the policeman. Kyuta suddenly appears and saves Kaname. He gets hit by the hunter's attack. Kaname takes Kyuta to hide. The hunter then activates the GPS in his game so that he can locate Kaname easily. He keeps chasing Kaname, and Kaname tries to find a way to escape from him. Kaname and Kyuta are in the parking lot, and they hide behind the car. Kyuta says that the hunter is after Kaname and suggests that he leave him and run away. Kaname quickly runs away, but the hunter keeps chasing him. Kaname decides to fight him. Although he is a beginner and doesn't know anything about the game, he manages to match his opponent. Kaname keeps fighting the hunter. He is annoyed that the game isn't over yet. The hunter uses his sigil, and he becomes invisible and walks toward Kaname. Just then, a car gets him from behind. The driver gets out of the car and looks confused. His car is dented as if he hit something, but he cannot see anything. Finally, the hunter is defeated. Kaname feels relieved and he hurries back to see Kyuta. Kaname calls an ambulance to take Kyuta to the hospital, but he is shocked as he finds a death mark on the floor where Kyuta was. Elsewhere, another player, Shuka, reads an announcement about Kaname. She is quite impressed with him and hopes that she can meet him. Afterward, Kaname comes home. He buys a gun to fight his enemy. On the other hand, a group of Ace Clan assaults the Yakuza gang. They annihilate the gang and take over their territory. The scene switches to Kaname, who goes to meet other players of Darwin's game to ask for an explanation about the game. Kaname arrives at a warehouse of a factory. He meets Shuka, a female player of Darwin's game. Shuka says if he wants to know about the game, he should tell her what his sigil is. She feels threatened if he hides his identity. Sigil is a power owned by all players in the game. Because Kaname doesn't know anything about the game, he cannot answer her question. Therefore, they start fighting. Shuka has a sigil to control a snake robot. She strikes while Kaname runs to the exit. However, Shuka controls the entire warehouse. She can open and close the warehouse and turn on and off the lights as she pleases. Even though he manages to run away, Shuka still manages to catch him. It is a dead end and he reluctantly has to fight her. Previously, Kaname left his gun at home, but his gun suddenly appeared. He then realizes his sigil can create an object he wants. He fights her and knocks her off. Shuka is impressed with his power. She doesn't expect Kaname to be this strong. Kaname wants Shuka alive and asks her how to stop the game. Shuka is surprised to see that Kaname really doesn't know a thing about the game. Shuka clicks the give up button on her phone. In order to stay alive, Shuka has to admit defeat to Kaname. Some of her points are sent to Kaname's account. Kaname is completely worn out and he sleeps on her lap. He's awkward and Shuka takes him to her house. The next morning, Kaname is shocked to find Shuka sleeping next to him. Shuka is worried about him because he has just woken up since last night. Elsewhere, a female player named Reen is impressed with Kaname because he is a rookie who managed to defeat the hunter and the winning queen Shuka. Reen has an opportunity to sell information about Kaname to other players. Kaname scolds Shuka for being naked. Shuka explains that she took him with his sigil, and it took a lot of energy as she didn't have the energy to change her clothes. Shuka then takes him out of the house. They talk about shelter items. Kaname asks if the enemy cannot invite them to play the game when they use the item. Shuka explains that a shelter item costs 10 points and can make his name disappear from the list for a week. Kaname replies he can trade his points to disappear from the game. Shuka comments that players lose if they throw away their points because one day they will need them, and Kaname can also exchange points for money. The two have arrived outside. Kaname then says he agrees to her request to make a clan with her. Shuka states only the B2 class and above can make a clan, so that Kaname has to fight to raise his level. Kaname asks if Shuka has reached level of 4. Shuka replies that Kaname as a man should be the one who leads the clan so that he has to reach level B2. Moreover, she says that she will call them tonight for further information. Kaname goes to the supermarket. There, he checks his savings account and is surprised to find his money has soared. It seems the money is from exchanging the points. Just then, he receives a notification from Darwin's game. Kaname is furious. He feels like he wants to kill the game founder. On the other hand, a man is practicing boxing with a masked girl. Danju keeps attacking her, but she can easily fight him back and knocks him. Danju then asks her if she is the one who annihilated the Yakuza gang in Shibuya. At first, Danju suspected the Ace clan, but they accused his clan instead. Therefore, he now suspects her, although someone else might have done that. Moreover, he talks about a rookie who defeated a rookie hunter and about an event invitation that is sent to certain players. It makes Danju curious if the game will make major changes. The scene switches to Kaname, who is waiting for Shuka in front of the Moai statue, which is covered by blue cloth. Shuka appears and takes him to Yaraudi Park. Kaname asks why they go to the park instead of going to the mall to investigate the treasure hunting event. Shuka covers Kaname's mouth with her hand and warns him not to mention the game recklessly. If players spill the information about the game, it will be over automatically. Thus, they change the name of the game to D-Game. They enjoy their time together, although Kaname looks annoyed that Shuka took him on a date. In the park, Shuka informs him that the Moai statue is covered with blue cloth to hide the player's death trail. They then head to the shopping mall. Shuka is in the fitting room, while Kaname waits for her outside while looking at his phone. On the other hand, a man named Inukai, a member of Danju Boxing Club, calls Reen. Reen gives him information about Kaname. Later, Inukai goes to look for Kaname at the shopping mall. He wants to get invited to the treasure hunting event. He finally finds Kaname and grabs his phone and asks Kaname to follow him. Leaving with no choice, Kaname follows him and they arrive at a hallway. Inukai wants to test Kaname's ability. Inukai wonders how good Kaname is to be able to beat the rookie hunter and Suka, the winning queen of Darwin's game. Without further ado, Inukai immediately attacks Kaname. He laughs and doesn't believe that Kaname is this weak. Kaname gets up and fights Inukai. Inukai is shocked to see a weapon in Kaname's hand and is sudden. Kaname then takes Inukai's phone and threatens that he will destroy it. On the other hand, Shuka receives a call from Reen, the informant. Reen informs her about Juan from Ace Clan. She also tells her that Kaname is fighting Inukai, a member of Danju Boxing Club. Shuka rushes to look for Kaname and she gets ready to help him. Kaname threatens Inukai that if he doesn't admit defeat, he will crush his phone. Kaname and Shuka then attack Inukai. Hearing that, Inukai gives up and admits defeat. Suddenly, there's a notification saying that the treasure hunting event will be started in 1 second. Immediately, they are teleported to different spots and have to carry out a mission to find rings. Elsewhere, a girl is fighting against Wang, the leader of Ace Clan. The girl hides to set up a strategy, but as she strikes, Wang dodges it, and she falls free from the building and dies. Her death trail is printed on the road. A woman gossips with her friend about the girl who fell from the top of a building. Shuka checks her phone and suddenly the land shakes and everyone leaves the scene. Shuka is stunned that everyone seems to forget about the incident and the death mark on the road. She then realizes that ordinary people won't be able to disturb the event. On the other hand, Kaname is teleported to a hotel. He reads the rules and is annoyed. He feels something is not right with the event. 300 players will enter the Battle Royale mode and are free to fight everyone to snatch the rings. They can use maps and dimensional cameras to look for the rings. If the time is over and the player cannot obtain 3 rings, it will be game over for them. Kaname uses his camera to look around. Apparently, the camera can also detect the enemy. Kaname finds a ring in the room and he quickly goes out of the room. He is surprised to see many players' death marks. Kaname quickly runs away as he encounters an enemy. He runs towards the stairs, but a large tree is there and blocks his way. It seems the tree is the sigil of the other player. Suddenly, his opponent is right behind him, pointing his gun. Kaname gives up and he gives his ring so that the man won't fire and kill him. However, the man still intends to attack Kaname, but his gun suddenly stops working and he immediately leaves the scene. Just then, Reen shows up and she introduces herself as an informant in D-Game. The elevator is almost open. Reen warns Kaname not to take the elevator because there is danger inside. A gigantic tree is inside the elevator. Besides, there is also a dead body of a player. As a result, Reen and Kaname work together to leave the hotel. The scene switches to the organizer room. It shows live streaming of the event. Shuka seems to be leading in the first place. She manages to obtain 7 rings and earns 1,900 points. In second place, the leader of the Ace clan. One obtains 5 rings. Shuka is seen fighting against 4 players. Even though she is alone, she still manages to defeat them. Meanwhile, the players who are not invited to the event are watching the live streaming intensely. Miss Themis, Trinity's manager, talks to a new player about D-Game. On the other hand, Kaname asks Reen about the identity of the tree man. Reen explains he is called a florist and is the type of player who waits for his prey to take his bait. The player in the elevator is a player who is killed by a plant player. Later, Kaname and Reen encounter the corpses of other players. The player who owns the plant sigil revives and controls the players using his sigil. Reen then throws a flash grenade at the other players. She explains players must have a flash to escape and Kaname can buy it in the D-Game shop. Kaname and Reen are hiding behind the pillar. Kaname finds a camera security and he fires at it. Kaname realizes that the plant player is watching him through the security cameras. Meanwhile, his man is impressed with Kaname's intelligence and he is getting enthusiastic to fight him. The man watches Kaname shooting at the cameras around the hotel. His name is Hiraji Ichiro. He believes Kaname has predicted his strategy. Hiraji plans to spread one-by-one player troops on every stairs. Hiraji calls the players he controls as troops, so that when a troop dies, he can find out where Kaname and Reen are. Kaname and Reen are in a room. Kaname says their success rate is only 40%. Their situation is dangerous, and even though it is hard to carry on the mission, Kaname is determined to clear it. They then make a strategy to fight back Hiraji's troops. Kaname and Reen go on separate ways. Reen runs to the 25th floor. She detonates a bomb to destroy a huge tree. Reen runs away from the soldier's pursuit. Meanwhile, Kaname attacks the soldier. Previously, Reen bought bombs in the D-Game shop. Reen is in charge of blowing up several floors because she has Laplace. Devil Laplace knows the location of atomic momentum in the world. Reen's sigil is equivalent to the ability of the Devil Laplace. Reen has reached the 40th floor. She lures the soldiers to her trap. The soldiers quickly fire at her, but they can't get it right as Reen activates her sigil. Reen manages to find a blind spot of the enemy's attacks because of her speed really helps. Reen easily fights them back and defeats them. Meanwhile, Kaname has arrived at the first floor. He climbs the wall using a rope. Hiraji approaches him and asks him to talk. However, Kaname feels disgusted to see a murderer like Hiraji. He quickly attacks Ichiro, but he grows roots around him as a shield. Although Kaname makes various weapons with his sigil to fight him, he still loses to the man. Hiraji destroys all his weapons. Kaname then throws a bomb Rie gave him and he runs away. Hiraji goes after Kaname and attacks him and he is sent flying. Kaname almost gives up, but suddenly the brave figure in him takes over and he gets up. He then makes a new weapon and adds gunpowder by 10% and reduces the caliber by 1mm, creating a bombastic weapon. Hiraji is cornered and the picture of his daughter flashes through his mind, weakening him. Kaname puts down his gun as he thinks the event is not a moment to kill people. Reen appears and points her gun at Hiraji. Reen makes an agreement with him that he has to share information with her and she won't kill him. Reen asks him the number of rings at the hotel and asks him if he knows that Clan 8 takes part in the event. Hiraji answers that there should be 24 rings. They should be wary of Wong from Clan 8 because he is very dangerous. Kaname comments that they have to make a clan to fight them. Elsewhere, Shuka flies fast with her sigil. She controls her sigil at a high speed and kills the sniper who targets her. She arrives at the underground shopping center. She is not aware that a little girl is watching her closely. On the other hand, Kaname is seen sleeping soundly. Reen gives him a chance to rest to recover his strength. Using his sigil excessively causes Kaname's stamina to drop. In his dream, Kaname meets Kyoto. Kaname asks why Kyoto started playing the D-Game. Kyoto answers to get some money because Kaname, Hamada, and Kyoto promised to go on a motorbike tour during the summer break. That's why he played the game for the first time so that he could buy a motorbike. Kaname is pissed off with his answer. He thinks Kyuta forced himself. Kyuta apologizes to Kaname that he involved Kaname in the game. Later, Hamada comes and tells Kyuta to leave. Kaname wakes up and walks out of the room. He finds Rin, who is waiting for him. Kaname says Shuko will come to the hotel soon. They go to meet Hiraji and Masaka Ryuji. There, Kaname invites Masaka to join his clan, but Masaka declines his offer because Hiraji previously controlled him and the others as his troops. He is still annoyed with Hiraji. Kaname unties him and lets him go. As he's about to open the door, he hears Kaname and the others talk about Wang. Masaka turns and grabs Hiraji's collar. Masaka asks if he tricks other people again. Reinstates her instinct never goes wrong, and it's positive that Wang takes part in the event. Therefore, Masaka decides to join the clan. The scene switches to Wang's clan. His underlings look extremely happy that they obtain many rings. Their next target is the hotel where Kaname and his friends are. That night, Wang and his men and the other members who do not take part in the event will gather. 20 people will take action in Shibuya district. Wang's underlings mention that the residents will not interfere with the event. Shibuya is Clan 8's territory, and it is impossible for them to be defeated. Moreover, if he can obtain rings in the hotel, he will have more than 50 rings. Wang sees the victory is already in his hand. On the other hand, Kaname and his group are discussing their next plan. Rin looks over the rules again, and she notices the order of the ring is not right. Rin senses something is off in the event. Ryuji comments that they have to think of a way to fight Wang, as Wang is to come there to steal the rings. Kaname and his friends begin to think of a strategy to fight Wang and his clan. Hiraji then asks Kaname and the others to go to the base to fetch Shuka. Kaname replies Shuko will tell him if she arrives. Just then, he receives a message from Shuka asking for help. He is surprised and thinks it is only a joke. The scene switches to Shuka, who looks confused about how to get off of the enemy's sigil. Apparently, she is fighting against someone who uses ice that can melt into a puddle. Shuka puts up a fight, but the ice girl withstands the attack with her sigil and causes Shuka to have a hard time hurting her. The girl then blocks Shuka's way using her sigil so that Shuka cannot escape. The girl activates her sigil and makes the underground shopping center flooded and gets Shuka drowned. On the other hand, Rin is looking at the code on a ring and suspects the oddness in the event. Hiraji appears and brings several rings. Rin studies the code on the rings and Hiraji takes a look at it. He then realizes that each ring has a different code. Meanwhile, Kaname and Ryuji head to the location using the map. They are looking for Shuka's presence and almost arrive at the underground shopping center. Sui appears and intends to prevent Kaname and Ryuji from finding Shuka. Kaname is surprised to find the place is flooded. It seems that someone's sigil makes Shuka drown. Kaname then decides to get into the water to save Shuka. Ryuji detects a lie. He realizes that Sui didn't tell the truth when they asked her about Shuka. Because Ryuji finds out her lies, Sui decides to run away. Before leaving, Sui freezes Ryuji's machine gun. Meanwhile, Shuka has surrendered between life and death. She can't stand the cold anymore and lets go of her grip and sinks. She really hopes to get to know Kaname better, but apparently, fate says otherwise. Apart from that, she thinks that if she dies, she can meet her parents in heaven. Elsewhere, Ryuji notices that Sui is still around. He calls her out and tells her to show up. Meanwhile, Sui texts someone. She says she has to kill Ryuji, but there is no water around him, so she can't activate her sigil. Sui then lures Ryuji to a convenience store. Sui turns on her phone and Ryuji follows its sound. Suddenly, Sui drops several mineral water, and she activates her sigil to freeze the water. Ryuji cannot move since he is trapped. On the other hand, Kaname finds Shuka's ring is 1 meter away. He immediately makes a weapon to break the ice wall in front of him. He quickly enters and rescues Shuka. Shuka loses consciousness and he quickly does CPR to save her. Kaname hugs her when she finally opens her eyes. Shuka feels glad that she can see him again. Kaname then tells her that he has formed a clan to complete the mission. Kaname and Shuka rush to meet Ryuji. Shuka approaches Sui. Instead of being angry, Shuka thanks her because thanks to her, she's getting closer to Kaname. Ryuji comments on how easily the dispute ends. Ryuji also cannot imagine that Kaname is having a relationship with Shuka. Kaname comments that he just met her 2 days ago and they are just friends. Sui then uses her sigil to dry their clothes. Shuka is impressed with her ability and offers her to join their clan. Sui declines, saying that she cannot fight. Actually, her brother's soul lives inside her, and her reason for playing D-game is to have the sigil she wants. Shuka goes in to explain that she won't be fighting, but is to clean up and wash clothes. Hearing that, Sui happily accepts because she is good at cleaning up. Therefore, Kaname allows her to join the clan. Just then, Kaname receives a message from Rin saying that the rings are not the goal of the event. The real treasure has been waiting for them, and the rings are just distractions. Kaname then tells Shuka to throw away her rings because they are going to find the real treasure. The scene switches to Wang and his men who prepare to raid the hotel. His men test the weapons they bought and they can't wait to start their action. On the other hand, Rin hears an explosion from outside. Rin realizes Wang and his men have started their action. Hiraji says that he will stay at the hotel to get the rings to pay for his daughter's illness treatment. He will fight the Clan 8 no matter what to protect the rings. Rin bids farewell and heads to meet Kaname and the others. Meanwhile, Wang and his clan begin to destroy the hotel. They split up to search for the rings. Shigu goes to the top floor using the elevator. Arriving at the top floor, he tells his comrades to go up as he has found the location of the rings. Receiving the messages, the other members immediately head to his place. Suddenly, Hiraji appears and attacks Clan 8 and kills them one by one. After that, he goes to fight Shigu. As he meets Shigu, he immediately launches an attack. He remembers Rin told him that Wang has two underlings who are very dangerous. The first one is Katsura Kaichi. He has a sigil that enables him to beat his opponent without touching them. However, his sigil probably cannot work in a short range. That's why he only can attack from a distance. The second one is a new member who has occupied a high position in the clan. He is called the Fire Devil. He can cover Hiraji's body with his flame. After recalling Rin's words, Hiraji immediately strikes Shigu. Meanwhile, Rin is at the railway station. She goes to the subway station. There, she spots Wang and his clan members who do not take part in the event. It turns out Wang assigns his members to different places to collect many rings. Wang and the other members are looking for other players to snatch their rings. The scene switches to the hotel. Hiraji is confident that he can win the fight against Shigu. However, Shigu is very strong and Hiraji gets overwhelmed by his attacks. Not long after, Katsura appears from the window. He uses his sigil to control the air and helps Shigu to defeat Hiraji. They outcompete Hiraji and Hiraji is easily worn out dealing with them. Hiraji is stabbed right in his heart and it makes him severely injured. Kichi and Shigu feel happy that they can easily finish him off. But Hiraji gets up and runs away. He hides behind the wall. Katsura and Shigu appear and tell Hiraji to surrender as his heart is too weak to survive. Not wanting to die alone, Hiraji creates an earthquake around the hotel. Hiraji says that plants cannot die easily. He then shows a beautiful white flower in his hand. Despite its beauty, the flower can blow up the surroundings. Hiraji takes his last breath after destroying the hotel. It is told previously that Hiraji visited his daughter in the hospital. He gave her a bouquet of gerbera flowers. He asks her about its meaning. His daughter, Suzune, explains red gerbera means keep moving, pink gerbera means true love, orange gerbera means patience, and white gerbera means hope. Gerbera is the florist's favorite flower. After talking to his daughter, Hiraji went back while Suzune slept soundly. Returning to the present, Kaname and his friends are watching the hotel building being destroyed. Kaname tells his friends to get ready to carry out their mission. The scene switches to Rin, who is hiding behind the wall. She overhears Wang's subordinates talking about the players who are heading to the railway station must know the information about the treasure. They have to look for all the players at the railway station. Rin intends to run away, but Yuta has Sigila Wolf's heart. He can sense humans sent from afar. Rin is spotted. She tries to escape, but Wang appears and grabs her arms. Wang then takes her hostage and forces her to reveal anything she knows about the treasure hunting event. Rin declines, but Wang twists her arms. Rin then tries to buy some time and tells him a story. Not long after that, Kaname and his friends arrive. Shuka rescues Rin with her sigil. Later, Rin and Kaname run away from the scene while Shuka, Sui, and Ryuji are left to handle Wang and the others. Apparently, Wang is too strong for them and he manages to break Shuka's sigil. Ryuji tries to put up a fight against Wang. Elsewhere, Kaname takes Rin to a safe place and asks her to solve the last code and find the treasure. After Kaname leaves, Rin enters her thoughts to dig information further. Apparently, only her deepest thoughts are able to solve the puzzle. Rin dives deeper and finds the code 185,911, which means November 1959 ed. It is the end of the Second Italian War of Independence, which is the day when Charles Darwin published the theory of the origin of species. Afterward, Rin returns and she feels glad that she finally finds the answer. On the other hand, Ryuji is tortured by Wang. Wang says he will use Ryuji's body to make liquor. Seeing that he has no option left, Ryuji decides to use his grenade to die together with Wang. Before Wang can execute him, Kaname appears and tells him that he has surrendered. Ryuji sees a lie in Kaname's words. Kaname then shows Wang a key and says the key is to unlock the treasure. He will trade the key with his life. Ryuji mutters to himself why Kaname is running around with Wang because Wang is not an ordinary person to negotiate with. Wang is different from the other members. Ryuji really has a grudge against him. Wang, without feeling guilty, mutilated his younger brother. Until now, Karadetta still really wants to kill him. Ryuji wants to throw the grenade, but if Wang notices it, he can teleport to another place. Thus, he decides to wait for the right moment to take his action. Wang states he doesn't trust Kaname. Kaname then takes out his gun and says he will just destroy the key. Kaname's way of thinking is difficult to comprehend. Wang is confused whether he should believe in him or not. Wang is still curious with Kaname's words and tells him to destroy if he wants. Wang actually wants to know the value of the key, or Kaname only plays a trick on him. Wang mutters that the rings alone have a high value, let alone the treasure. Moreover, the rumor about the winner who will get special privileges from D-Game. In the end, Wang gives up. He promises that he will guarantee Kaname's safety, but not for Ryuji. He says that he will still get rid of him. Kaname says to Wang to go ahead and kill Ryuji. Wang laughs out loud. He feels sorry for Ryuji, who is not considered by his friend. Kaname throws the key to Wang. Kaname goes on to say the key is fake. Kaname laughs while opening the locker using the code 185,911 and the locker is open. Previously, Rin told him the code is the date on which Charles Darwin published the theory of the origin of species. Even though the code is not connected with the game, but in Shibuya Station, there is only one locker that uses a 6-digits code to unlock. Wang is furious. He wants to kill Kaname, but the game is over and the players will be teleported to different places. The mission is declared completed. Wang vows that he will kill Kaname later. Afterward, the players are teleported to their respective places. Meanwhile, Kaname is still there to get the reward. The treasure is a smartphone. The phone rings. It turns out the game master is called Kaname. He informs Kaname's total points is 5,237 points. Points are just an extra prize. The grand prize of the event is that Kaname can ask anything of the game master. On that opportunity, Kaname asks for the game to end. The game master replies there are 2 ways to quit the game. The first one is by completing the game. Second, Kaname has to kill the game master and destroy Darwin's game system. Kaname mutters it will be better if he asks for the profitable privilege so he can win the game or kill the master. Then Kaname asks the master something interesting. Before hanging up, the game master says that Kaname receives another reward, the Fire God of Iron. It is the name of his sigil. After finishing talking, Kaname is teleported back to his place. At school, Kaname has been missing for 2 months. Shinazuka is worried about him and he plans to go to his house. The scene switches to the hospital where Suzune is treated. The owner of the insurance company, Kanehira, visits Suzune. He gives the insurance money to her at the death of her father. Suzune is shocked to hear that and he kicks him out. Although Suzune refuses it, he leaves the check in the room. Kanehira greets Rin outside the room. Rin says she is at peace after making sure Suzune receives the check. Hiraji asked her to help him send money for insurance for his daughter when he died. After Kanehira leaves, Suzune walks out of the room looking for him to make sure of the check. Rin and Suzune talk on the rooftop. Suzune cannot believe that her father is dead. Rin then gives her name card so that Suzune can contact her. As an information broker, Rin will explain the details if she is well paid. Elsewhere, Kaname and Ryuji train with Danjo gang. For 2 months, Kaname has trained hard to become stronger. Inukai continues to teach Kaname to build his physique by training with him. Danjo's leader visits Kaname to check his condition. Kaname formed a clan and now he wants to make an alliance with Danjo. Therefore, Danjo can sympathize with his principles and purpose. Moreover, Danjo says he needs to measure if Kaname is worthy of forming an alliance with him by fighting him. The scene then shows Kaname and Danjo are ready to fight. Inukai is assigned to the referee. Danjo explains the rules in which Kaname is free to use any weapons to fight him, but is prohibited from destroying the building. Apart from that, accidental killing is allowed. Inukai blows the whistle and the match begins. Kaname makes a weapon, but Danjo destroys it. Kaname keeps avoiding Danjo's attack, and he makes a new weapon. Meanwhile, Danjo is getting enthusiastic and attacks him intensely. Kaname changes his weapon and fires at him. Danjo hides behind the pillar. He then lifts the pillar and attacks Kaname. Danjo has not used his sigil yet. Danjo runs towards Kaname while avoiding his bullets. On that opportunity, Kaname throws his grenade toward Danjo, but Danjo has already appeared in front of him. Danjo says that Kaname still can admit defeat now. Even though he almost loses, Kaname thinks of a quick plan. He throws the bomb, but the bomb is just a distraction so that Kaname can move to a safe place. Kaname stands in a safe range and points his gun at Danjo. Then Danjo admits that Kaname is in equal alliance with him, but he still wants to fight. Suddenly, a girl named Suilin, the #1 ranked player of D-Game, appears. Her power can trick everyone. She can make Danjo and everyone faint in just one look. She then takes Kaname with her and leaves. The scene switches to the Kaname and his clan's base. Shuga asks the others to meet Kaname. On the other hand, Kaname asks Suilin to untie his hands. Kaname asks for the reason for kidnapping him. Suilin replies she wants Kaname to be her underling. Zuilin comes from an assassin family and she asks Kaname to be the heir of the family. Zuilin has become an assassin and she wants Kaname to be her husband so that their descendants can continue their profession as assassins. Zuilin indirectly proposes to Kaname. Kaname replies that he has no desire to be a part of the assassins. Zuilin comments that Kaname hasn't realized the murderous power within him is just like hers. Kaname always wins all of his matches against the greats. This invincible nature makes Zuilin interested in making Kaname her life partner. Zuilin then sees so many calls from Shuka. Zuilin calls Shuka and tells Kaname to tell his clan to stop bothering them because she is no match for Shuka and her friends. Kaname then tells Shuka to hit Zuilin's car and the line is disconnected. Janame states Sunset Ravens will defeat Zuilin without killing her. Meanwhile, Shuka and the others are ready to hit Zuilin's car. Sui activates the fighting mode in the game so that their match cannot be detected by the police. Zuilin gets a lot of attacks and she comes out of the car and comments that Shuka is the woman Kaname trusted. Zuilin goes on to tell her that Kaname has accepted her love. Hearing this, Shuka is furious and they begin to fight. Shuka attacks Zuilin intensely, but Zuilin is able to keep up with Shuka and the fight is getting intense. From inside the car, her friends try to help her. When Rien tries to fire at Zuilin, she manages to break Rien's gun. Zuilin tells them to give up. Just then, Kaname throws bottles through the window while Shuka gets ready to catch it with her sigil. Shuka then tells Sui to activate her sigil. As a result, Zuilin's car tires are frozen and damaged. The match is over and Kaname comes out of the car. He asks Zuilin to admit defeat. However, Zuilin comments that the one who won the match is Shuka and Kaname was only assisting her. Simon, her butler, says that Zuilin has lost because their car tires are damaged, and if they replace them, Shuka will chase them even faster, and they cannot escape from her. Gazaming reminds her that she promised Kaname to end without killing anyone. Finally, Zuilin admits defeat, but she says she wants to join the Sunset Ravens. Shuka and the others are surprised to hear that, but Kaname agrees. He warns Zuilin not to betray the clan, or if it happens, she's not allowed to touch the clan's members and he will deal with her himself. Zuilin agrees, and finally, Kaname allies with Zuilin. Later, Rien meets a girl named Kotori, a member of Icy Crown. Previously, Rien found the Clan 8's base. Kotori praises Rien's intelligence in tracking the Clan 8. Rien asks Kotori about Clan 8. Kotori replies she only knows that Clan 8 now has 15 members and their 2 great members and other members were killed in the hunting event. After receiving the information, Rien bids goodbye to Kotori and says the payment for the information is paid through game points. However, Kotori requests that Rien make her a member of the Sunset Ravens. Rien asks if Kotori will betray the Icy Crown and change clans. Kotori replies she is curious about the leader of the Sunset Ravens. Kotori hopes that the leader will allow her to join the clan. On the other hand, Kaname goes into a rage. He punches the wall repeatedly when he hears the news that Wang cut off Shinazuka's finger and kidnapped him. Soon, Rien comes back. She says she has found the information they need. Later, the Sunset Ravens clan goes on a rescue mission. Formation is complete and everything is prepared. Inukai also joins the mission. Elsewhere, Wang and the others are waiting for Kaname. Previously, Wang sent a video of Shinazuka's torture. Wang believes Kaname is now going on a rage and perhaps he is heading to their base. Shinji reports that police surround them. Wang says that the police will not catch them because Clan 8 has powerful sigils. On the other hand, Kaname and his friends are on their way to their base. Kaname says when Clan 8 is caught off guard, he will take Shinazuka. Shuka informs that the police have surrounded the Clan 8 base. The scene shows Ki, who is using his sigil, Tempest, to kill the policeman. Clan 8 decides to leave the base. Although they have defeated the policeman, another force may appear there. Afraid that Shinazuka will make trouble, Wang tells Shinji to get rid of him. The police try to break the rear door. Wang immediately uses his sigil and attacks the police. Meanwhile, Shinazuka is watching Wang slaughter the police. Just then, the phone falls in front of him. Apparently, Kaname asked Shubet to deliver the phone to Shinazuka. The line is connected and Kaname tells Shinazuka to open the game link. It is the only way to survive. Although Shinazuka cannot use his hands, he tries hard to open the link. Suddenly, the line is disconnected. Kaname hopes Shinazuka can do what he told him. Shinazuka is seen using his tongue to open the link. A green snake comes out of the phone and bites his neck, and he is registered as a player of the game. Shinji walks towards Shinazuka and is about to shoot him. However, he sees that Shinazuka is free. Shinazuka then attacks Shinji. Shinji wonders how he can have such power. Shinazuka then fights the members of the Clan 8, but suddenly Wang appears. Shinazuka looks frightened. Wang calls out Kaname's name. Without further ado, Wang executes Shinazuka with his power. On the other hand, Inukai gets ready to fight Ki. Ki used to be a karate athlete. He fought in the semi-final round and managed to win the match. Suddenly, his friend passed away, and the incident made Ki frustrated because he was considering murdering him. He then met Wang and started to take part in D-game. Until now, murdering is his skill. Listening to Inyukai's words, Ki immediately attacks him, and the match gets intense because each of them masters martial arts skills. The scene switches to the Clan 8's base. Kaname and Ryuji are ready to fight Wang, but he hasn't appeared. Kaname asks about Shinazuka's whereabouts. Wang replies that Shinazuka is around him. Kaname hurries to search for him and is shocked to see a box containing Shinazuka's body. Kaname cries and screams. He is furious to see Shinazuka die tragically. Kaname then fires one by one Clan 8 members and finishes them off. Witnessing his members die tragically, Wang attacks Kaname, but Shuka appears and takes Wang to another place. Wang states he is no match for a kitten like her. On the other hand, Wang's members surround Kaname and Ryuji, but Kaname easily kills them all. Kaname then tells Ryuji to help Shuka. Shuka attacks Wang with her sigil. Suddenly, his leg is cut off. Wang tries to fight back, but blood drips down his cheek. He looks up, and it turns out that Shuka installed a wire in the warehouse to torture him. Shuka explains that her sigil, Queen of Thorns, can manipulate all rope-shaped objects. Apart from that, Shuka can also create micro-vibrations so that Wang's body is cut off easily. Wang mutters to himself, asking if he can use his teleportation skill to move Shuka's place. However, instead of moving to her place, Wang is caught in his own attack. He is shocked to see his leg is cut off again. Shuka then says that she will cut off his head. Frightened, Wang tries to teleport to another place, but he comes to a lion's cage instead. Kaname greets him. He doesn't expect King Shibuya to become weak like that. Wang says he gives up and asks Kaname to stop. He promises that he will give 1,800 of his clan points to Kaname. Kaname replies is equal to 180 million yen, but is still not enough because 180 million is not comparable to his friend's deaths. Kaname explains the all-in-one strategy in the poker game, namely the winner takes all the advantages from his opponent, and it means Kaname has gained a lot of points when the game starts. Kaname can bet as much as possible to get more fantastic points. That is Kaname's privilege from the D-game administrator. If Kaname gets 8,869 points, it's a shame that Clan 8 has lost all its points. Then Wang is declared the loser of the game. Wang remembers the saying about the king of vessels: one by one animals enter the vessel, and they kill each other until finally the winner remains, who is called the king of vessels. Wang realizes his life is like the king of vessels. One day, someone will beat him. Wang advises Kaname not to be too arrogant because there will be other great new players. Then, Wang disappears, leaving a trail of death. Elsewhere, Inyukai manages to defeat Ki, and he rushes to meet Kaname and his friends. All the Sunset Ravens clan gather. Kaname says the battle is not over. Kaname says he will eliminate the creator of the D-game. Shuka asks him to promise not to die, and Kaname replies he will keep his word. On the other hand, Oboro answers a call from the general manager of Darwin's game. The manager informs that there is rapid development in the game, and D-game has a new great player named Kaname. Hearing the manager's words, Oboro wants to bother Kaname. The manager warns him not to disturb his best player. The scene switches to the Sunset Ravens clan. All members are carrying out their actions. After completing the mission, Kaname and his friends gather on the rooftop. They look at the crow fly in the sky, and the story ends. This is the end of Darwin's Game Season 1. Thank you so much for staying in this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest contents. See you in the next video.